Hi, hey, hello, and welcome to a little Thanksgiving episode of a Colts Podcast. My name's Brandon. A Colts Podcast brought to you by Sports Illustrated and a Horseshoe Huddle, presented by, funded by all $0 that it takes to make this show. Sports Illustrated Horseshoe Huddle. My name's Brandon. I'm joined here by your co-host, my best friend, Andrew Moore. Happy Thanksgiving, buddy. Tomorrow's the day. Tomorrow we eat.
Happy Thanksgiving to you too, brother. We got some football tomorrow. Not Colts football, but we've got some football tomorrow, and I'm excited to talk about this Colts matchup with you. Just as big of a game this Sunday as the Colts are welcoming the world champion Tampa Bay Buccaneers into Lucas Oil Stadium. There's going to be a variety of Colts legends on hand because of Robert Mathis going into the Ring of Honor, and this is a big test for Indianapolis to see how they stack up with the defending champions. It's almost a sold-out crowd as of right now. I think there's only like single tickets available, Jim Irsay said. So it's going to be a fun atmosphere. I'm excited to be there and excited to see what the Colts can do against Tom Brady.
Yeah, it is going to be a good time. I'm nervous. A little nervous for this one, but I'm excited. I'm excited for tomorrow. I'm excited for Thanksgiving football. I'm actually going to Paige's grandmother's for most of the day without Paige, so that'll be fun.
There you go.
So I'll actually get to ignore everyone and watch football, whereas, when I'm doing stuff with my family, Brandon, can you do this? Brandon, can you do that? Looking to avoid all that tomorrow. Then family Thanksgiving with my family on Saturday. Won't have to miss any real football that day to help out with Thanksgiving stuff. So
yeah, Danny's up in South Bend, and I have to work tomorrow a little bit before I join my family. But but at least I'll get to see my family, and it's gonna be a good time seeing everybody eating a lot of food. And I'm
go follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook at a Colts Podcast, as I put it up over Andrew's face.
Yeah, thanks for that.
Go follow us. We're always tweeting the episode. Sometimes there's announcements like, hey, the episode's an hour early tonight because holiday. We decided that an hour ago.
Hey, look, our buddy Matt is going to be at the Colts game on Sunday. So, hey, Matt, let me know where you're going to be sitting, and maybe we can meet up. That'd be awesome to see our stats guy in person.
Stats Matt. Happy Thanksgiving to you, Matt, and welcome. Thanks for joining. Colts plus 135 hosting the Buccaneers minus 155. I know we get a little boost for the home field, but I'm surprised by these numbers. Spread of 3. Over or under 53. Why do they keep giving us an even? Maybe it's just this week, but give me that 0.5. It just doesn't make sense. If I hit a push, I'm upset. I'm not betting this game anyway.
Bad juju.
But I would bet the over. I think I bet the over. I know they're two good defenses. This is what's been going on this year, and it happens sometimes throughout history. It happens in other sports too, in like mixed martial arts. Two really good stand-up guys seem to have a really boring stand-up fight, and they end up on the ground, or two great wrestlers, it looks like they just box the whole time. So two great defenses, I think, two pretty good defenses for the most part. Maybe it's just going to be a shootout. Any game this year with two great offenses has turned into a defensive struggle. So we'll see, but hit the over. Why not? Hammer it.
You're always wanting to hit the over. Did the over hit last week in the Colts Bills game?
I'll check. It was 50.5. I'm pretty sure it did.
Yes, it did, because there was 56 points scored. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be a tough matchup for the Indianapolis Colts. The defense played their best game of the year, I think, last week against Buffalo.
220, hello.
But it's a completely different type of game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. You're not going up against Josh Allen. You're going up against Tom Brady. And Tom Brady has seen every single defense there is in his 20 years in the NFL. you can't fool Tom Brady. So while the Colts, I'm sure of it, are going to disguise their defenses and everything, it's going to be a completely different ball game as far as needing to get pressure on Tom Brady, being able to handle the weapons and everything else. So, and I don't think that the Buccaneers are going to allow Jonathan Taylor to just run buck wild and get 200 yards either. So it's going to be a completely different game, but I think the Colts do have a chance to kind of shock the world again and really put up a fight with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers on Sunday.
3 reasons this game's almost sold out. 1, Robert Mathis going to the Ring of Honor. 2, the Indianapolis Colts hate Tom Brady, but they can't help but want to watch Tom Brady play football. 3, the reason they want to watch Tom Brady play football is because they want to see Tom Brady lose. So there's 3 great reasons to be at this game. We're in the playoff race. New England's going to take care of business for us this week. But yes, Robert Mathis, the scariest man alive, is going into that Ring of Honor this weekend, and it's going to be a packed house for him. It's going to be real loud. Not going to be able to hear his speech. Nothing.
I'm really glad because he was supposed to go in the Ring of Honor last year, and I'm really glad the Colts moved it to this year to give Robert Mathis the ceremony that he deserves, not in front of a $10,000 to $12,000 10,000 fans crowd in Lucas Oil Stadium, 63,000 fans there that could cheer him on, give him his loud ovation, and I fully expect them to put him right next to Dwight Freeney's name in the Ring of Honor. So congratulations to Robert Mathis. I heard a rumor that Adam Vinatieri is going to be there to bang the anvil, so that'll be cool to see Vinny back in the building if that's true. There's going to be some other Colts legends that are back to see Robert go into the Ring of Honor, so it's going to be a pretty big atmosphere. And how fitting is it that Robert Mathis, a guy that absolutely despises quarterbacks and despises Tom Brady more than anyone that I probably have seen publicly, and he's very verbal about it, go into the Ring of Honor in the game that Tom Brady comes back and plays at Lucas Oil Stadium. Very fitting.
I know what I'll be listening to in the car on the way to Huntington tomorrow. Mr. Robert Mathis on the Pat McAfee Show. Thanks for that update, Matt. Stat guy Matt, even podcast stats. Appreciate that. Glad that Pat McAfee is your second favorite podcast. Yeah, you know what would be awesome? You know what I just thought about with this Adam Vinatieri rumor?
What's that?
Do you know who I want to see hit the anvil soon?
Is it Pat?
No, I've seen him do that in person. I've seen him do it on TV. He's done it like 17 times.
All right, who do you want to see hit the anvil?
Phil Rivers. I would love to see Phil Rivers come back and hit the anvil. I think that would be absolutely incredible.
That would be pretty. I think I would get a pretty good ovation in Lucas Oil Stadium. I don't know how likely it is to happen, but it seems like they do bring back a Colts great. And I mean, Philip Rivers is a Colt greats, but he's beloved by the Colts fans now. Anthony Costanzo was actually there in the last game. It was good to see AC back there, and it made me miss AC even more. Just imagining how he could be performing this year. But yeah, I'm excited for Sunday. See Robert go in the Ring of Honor. It's very well deserved.
Oh no. Oh, he's back. Oh God, we almost had another Sunday issue. He's with us.
Did I almost lose you?
He's not frozen. Oh boy.
I was just about to say
if that would have happened.
If this goes down, because I even double checked it beforehand. We should be good tonight in this out in the country internet.
Get your AirPods, put them close just in case we cut out. Go to the phone. Go click the link. You can still join me, Andrew. It'll be fine. Hilarious. Guys,
there we go.
If you watched last weekend and saw me finish up the show alone, go ahead and give me a round of applause. Let's get talking about football. Enough pillow talk here. We need to get some pressure on Tom Brady. We talked about it the other day. We've talked about
obvious statement of all time, pretty much.
I know. We talked about this. We've talked about this in person. We've talked about it over the years. We talked about it on the show even before we were talking about this game. The number one way to beat Tom Brady, we probably talked about it before the Super Bowl last year. One way to beat Tom Brady is to get in his face, make him have to move his feet. I do not want to talk about his rush last week. It was awesome. But you got to get him uncomfortable, essentially. Make him uncomfortable. That's the one thing that for whatever reason still flusters him. It still gets in his head.
And not only to get pressure on him, but get pressure up the middle, because
Yeah.
that Tom Brady thrives when he's able to step up into the pocket and deliver those throws. It's not just off the edge, which obviously you'll need. So Kwity Paye and Al-Qadim Muhammad will still be very involved, as well as Kaboko Toure and Dio Dangbo, but I'm looking at those two guys in the middle, the two guys that are in the thumbnail today,
Yeah.
DeForest Buckner and Grover Stewart. And DeForest Buckner, over the past couple weeks, he's really started to come on, and we're starting to see the all-pro that we're used to. DeForest Buckner's been creating pressure up the middle. He's been able to be very disruptive up the middle, and that's what the Colts are going to need to really see. They're going to need to have those guys like DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, Taylor Stallworth, who we haven't really talked too much about, but I think we should. Taylor Stallworth has been having really good success rushing the passer up the middle. So that's definitely something we need to see. And if the Colts cannot get that interior pressure, I think it's going to be a very long day, because that will allow Tom Brady to sit back there and just pick apart this Colts defense. He did it all night against the New York Giants when I was watching him on Monday Night Football. And I'm thinking to myself, if this is what the Colts defense is going to do.
Didn't throw 4 touchdowns, though.
He didn't throw 4 touchdowns, but at the same time, there was no chance that the Giants were going to beat him and slow down that Tampa Bay offense without getting pressure on him. And they really didn't all night.
And yeah, and like you said, he thrives on being able to step up in the pocket, and so many things can happen when you do that. We saw it this week out of Brady. We saw it this week out of Wentz. If you're able to step up in that pocket, one, I mean, it just gives you so much more time all of a sudden, it feels like, to make a decision. 2, things open up, because I assume that long run by Brady was the Giants finally said, listen, we know he's going to step up in the pocket. I'm not falling for that shit. We're staying in coverage. So he said, all right, I'll just run straight down the field. Same thing. Wentz did the same thing this past weekend. So that's the key, getting the pressure up the middle, making him move to his left or his right. He's not a very mobile guy. He can run in a straight line, but you're not going to see him escaping left or right very well. Not as well as Wentz can. If he does, he has a better opportunity to do something big down the field, I feel like, than Carson maybe, but he's one of the best ever. Maybe the best ever.
Well, here's
so, but maybe.
Here's something that it kind of just popped into my head. The way the Colts can attack Tom Brady as well is a little bit different than how they attacked Josh Allen last week, as far as their pass rush is concerned, because last week it was all about keeping Josh Allen in the pocket. You didn't want him to escape the pocket because of that threat with his legs.
Exactly.
There isn't really a threat with Tom Brady's legs. I mean, yeah, he might have a rush here or there, but that's not at top of mind when you're facing Tom Brady. When you're facing Tom Brady, you're more about, like we already talked about, get pressure up the middle, just get him off his spot. So the Colts defensive ends don't necessarily have to worry about necessarily containing the edge, setting the edge, and containing the Brady in the pocket. They can really pin their ears back and just go and try to tee off on Tom Brady. And the Buccaneers offensive line too, certainly no slouch. I mean, they've got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL, and that's what's allowed Brady to stand back there and really deliver the ball and stay clean these past 2 years, is that they don't allow much pressure on Brady. So the Colts pass rush, while they have been ascending and they have had some pretty good weeks here the past 3 weeks or so, this is going to be another huge test. And I think it's even a bigger test than it was last week against Buffalo, because they're facing a near elite offensive line that Tampa Bay has.
And it goes right into our next point, Andrew. The pressure has to come quick. We have the opportunity to do that, okay, because Brady's legs aren't there, but he doesn't need all day with the weapons he has in our secondary, to be completely honest. So containing these weapons, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Gronk, and realistically, there's more on that team. The pass rush is going to have to get home quick, because the secondary, there it is. The secondary, is not going to be able to hold up long against those guys.
And I think the Colts secondary, as far as their coverage is concerned, what we saw last week against the Buffalo Bills, I think we'll see a lot of that this week as well, where the Colts will show one look and then go to a completely different look after the snap. And it really confused Josh Allen. And I'm sure they're going to try their best to do that against Tom Brady as well. So you're going to see that. But something else that we also saw is we saw a lot more man coverage last week against Josh Allen. We saw Rock Ya-Sin play very, very well in man coverage. And my colleague our colleague Zach Hicks did a film review on it and showed how Rock had a really good performance against the Buffalo Bills. That's something we can see. Kenny Moore had a great performance. I think Kenny Moore graded out as one of the top cornerbacks by Pro Football Focus in the league this past week. He had an over 90 grade, which is elite on their scale. And then Isaiah Rodgers and Xavier Rhodes, whoever is rotating in at that other outside corner spot, I want to give it to Isaiah Rodgers. Xavier Rhodes played most of the game last week. And while Xavier Rhodes struggled a little bit, he did have that one tipped pass that ended up being Kenny Moore's interception. So that was a good play.
But other plays before that, I texted you earlier in that game, and I said, why is Xavier Rhodes on the field? Because he did not look good to start that game.
Right. He did not. And I was clamoring for Isaiah Rodgers to be put in as well. The Colts defense can't leave Xavier Rhodes out there if he's continually getting burned by like a Mike Evans or a Chris Godwin, whoever they put on the outside there. So the Colts really need to be careful that they don't leave Xavier Rhodes out there for Brady to just constantly pick on him the entire game. So it's going to be very interesting to see. And I think that you will see what the Colts did. They will try to mix up coverage as best as they can. But obviously it's going to eventually come down to winning those matchups and going into the game. It's not out of the realm to say that the Colts are at a great disadvantage in that, just because, I mean, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, Rob Gronkowski, you could go even some more, the Pro Bowl players. And the Colts, outside of Kenny Moore, do not have a Pro Bowl caliber player in their secondary right now.
No, they do not. And now I'm lost. I don't know if there's much else to say. I mean, this offense, I think it's going to come down to our offense. And somebody says in the comments here, it's going to come down to if we get behind, can Carson keep up without JT? I don't know about, without JT. I don't know if that's the right word, because even if we fall behind a little bit, I think it's important to keep running the football. But I don't think the defense, except for the pressure, I think the defensive line is going to be huge. But I don't think the defense is going to play as big of a part as the offense is, because the Bucs are going to get theirs. It's just like Kansas City. They're going to get theirs more likely than not. So the question is, can the offense keep up? And that's going to start with Jonathan Taylor against this defense, against that defensive line. Is he going to be able to dominate like he has the last few games?
Yeah, just real quick. Last thing I'll say about the defense is the Buccaneers, it's not like they're unbeatable, though, but we've seen a blueprint of how
they've lost a couple of games.
Right. We've seen the blueprint of how to stifle that offense. I mean, Washington and New Orleans just did it in back-to-back games. So I think the Colts can pull some stuff from that. Now, as far as Jonathan Taylor, obviously the Bucs defense, all eyes are going to be on Jonathan Taylor. Yeah. Why wouldn't they be, after he goes for over 200 scrimmage yards and 5 touchdowns?
What?
The Buccaneers have the number 1 ranked rushing defense in the league. They're only giving up about 74 yards a game on the ground. And I didn't see the Buccaneers injury report, but Monday night, Vita Vea, who is their big nose tackle, the guy that really is the engine behind this run defense for the Buccaneers, he didn't play Monday night. So I don't know what his status is for Sunday, but if he's not out there, that definitely helps this Colts team as far as running the ball. And I think you're absolutely right, though. We can't just, if they stop JT a couple times, you can't abandon the run, because then you're going to fall into the trap of putting everything on Carson Wentz. You're going to get too predictable if you're just throwing the ball all the time. And then while the secondary of Tampa Bay is pretty banged up and they don't really have too many guys back there, you definitely don't want to become predictable. So I don't think Jonathan Taylor necessarily will dominate on Sunday. Do I think he can have a good game? Absolutely, I do. Jonathan Taylor is the hottest player and probably the best player in the NFL right now. So there's no reason why Jonathan Taylor can't still get over 100 yards in a touchdown or two. But I do think it's going to need to be more complementary football than what we saw last Sunday, as far as Carson Wentz in the passing offense being able to shoulder some of the load and not just relying on Jonathan Taylor to get another 3 to 4 touchdowns, because I just don't see that happening.
Well, and it's not just about the big runs. There's a reason that the Tennessee Titans run him and run him and run him in reference to Henry, okay? Because the longer a game goes on and the longer you have to defend a guy like that in an offensive line like that, the more and more it wears on you. Okay, so I don't know. I don't think we've talked about this, but there's so many situations where it looks like Jonathan Taylor's not going to get anything up the middle even, and the pile just moves with him. 4 or 5 yards when it just should not happen. You see, and it shouldn't happen. I know we've talked about that, but what we haven't talked about is that the offensive line's push. Quentin Nelson practically shoved Jonathan Taylor and the entire pile through. Okay, when the offensive line is pushing you around like that and never stops pushing until the whistle's blown, that wears on a team. So we have to commit to running the football. The offensive line has to play a part in that, and pushing the line and wearing down on that defensive line. And I think if Frank can stay committed through the second half, I think it'll really pay off.
And I think you just brought up inadvertently a really good point. Quentin Nelson, I think Quentin Nelson needs to be out there on Sunday. He didn't practice today. And I think that's huge. As I really think that while Chris Reed has played very well, Mark Lewinsky had a really good game. This Colts offensive line, it's just a different team when Quentin Nelson's out there. And in a game of this magnitude against guys like, because Dominic Sue's on that defensive line, Vita Vea, guys like Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul, they've got some studs at pass rush there, and not to mention Devin White and Levante David, they're stud linebackers as well. Quentin Nelson, while he isn't playing maybe at an all-pro level, I would say this year, he still has only given up, I think, 1 sack all year and 5 quarterback hits. Quentin Nelson is still playing like Pro Bowl Quentin Nelson. And whether Chris Reed has played great, but he's still no Quentin Nelson. And I think Quentin will have a huge role out there. I would be very shocked if Quentin doesn't play. I think he'll go out there in the Terminator brace and all with 10 pounds of tape on that right ankle
again.
But Quentin will be out there, and I think that's going to be huge. But then we forget about Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines still has a huge role.
I want to see him and JT out there at the same time more. That was awesome.
That package when you have Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines out there at the same time, it really creates problems for opposing defenses, because not only can you run the ball, both guys are very, very good. Well, Nyheim Hines especially, very good receivers and very potent in the passing game. So it's like pick your poison. And that's where you can see Carson Wentz make those checks at the line, decide what play he wants to go into, whether it's a run or a pass. You just have so many more options when both of those guys are out there at the same time. So I expect that. I expect the Colts to get their speed guys out there at times, and on their home turf. It'll be indoors because my guess is the roof and the window are going to be closed. The Colts could turn it into a track meet as well. They have the ability to do that with the weapons that they have.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Stats, Matt, if you can find me the success rate of the Colts offense with Nyheim Hines and Jonathan Taylor on the field, you're hired. Official stats guy.
We'll bring him on the show for an episode.
There you go. I'm sure he would love that. This incredible production. All right, Andrew, true or false? Carson Wentz will need to lead the Colts to victory Sunday.
I'm going to go true. It might shock you, but I think that if the Colts are going to win this game, it's going to come down to it's going to be a very close game. The Colts, obviously, I don't think they're going to run away with it if they do win, but we haven't necessarily seen a game-winning drive out of Carson Wentz. And I think if it's close like this, it might come down to that, a game-winning drive by Carson Wentz, where it's not, you can't just go down the field in 6 minutes with Jonathan Taylor and score a touchdown. There's going to probably be maybe 2 to 3 minutes left, and you're going to need to see the best out of Carson Wentz. Carson Wentz hasn't done that yet. He really hasn't been able to lead a game-winning drive, and I think just the way that this Buccaneers defense is and where their weaknesses are, I think it's going to be on Carson Wentz to have a big game this weekend for the Colts to win the football game. I'm not necessarily saying 400 yards and 5 touchdowns, but you could see a performance like 275 yards and a 2 to 3 touchdowns. And I think if he does that, along with Jonathan Taylor getting his normal workload, 20 carries for Jonathan Taylor for 100 yards, Colts are going to have a shot. But yeah, I do think that if the Colts are going to win this game, it's going to come down to Carson Wentz and how he plays on Sunday.
True and false.
Oh, okay. You took the me answer. You didn't.
Well, no, I'm going to explain. Okay. It's not a cop out like you do. You just don't want to answer. He cannot. It can't be last week, right? Where he just doesn't lose the game. It cannot be a game manager game. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying he's going to have to do everything. I'm not saying he's going to have to put the team on his back. He is going to have to play above average, but somewhere wherever above average is for him before he hits hero ball on the scale there. As long as he keeps his head on straight, he makes smart plays, he's willing to let some stuff go when he has to. He's willing to throw the ball away and not force stuff. That's the way I need him to lead. So true. He's going to have to lead the team to victory, but he's going to have to do it with smart decision making, and playing a little bit better than he has the last couple weeks, numbers wise. I do think it's going to take more numbers out of him in the passing game to win, because I don't think Jonathan Taylor's not going to do what he did last week. Is he going to rush over 100 yards, maybe 120? Yes, I would say so. All purpose, 150, whatever. But Carson Wentz is going to have to play more football. He's going to have to play better football.
Absolutely. And I saw a lot of fans this week getting all upset with how Carson Wentz played.
I was fine with it.
I mean, he did exactly what the Colts asked. I mean, sometimes it's funny watching Colts fans criticize how we don't run the ball enough. And then when Jonathan Taylor gets 30 carries and goes off, then it's Carson Wentz didn't do enough.
I saw this guy that I follow and follows me, and he goes, man, I don't know if I should be more worried that Colts fans think Carson Wentz did fine when he went 11 for 20, or if I should be more worried that he did it in general. Some shit. I'm like Frank Reich said, he had 3, 4, or 5 throwaways too out of those 9 incompletions. So
when I watched the film, he had about 3 or 4 throwaways that I counted, and that would make it 11 for 16. I would rather him throw the ball away than force it into coverage. I mean, that's what we've been saying all year. Carson Wentz doesn't need to play hero ball all the time, and he wasn't asked to lead the team.
Jonathan Taylor, Rivers would have done the exact same numbers as Carson Wentz did last week, nobody would be saying a word about it.
Jonathan Taylor was in the middle of a legendary performance. You don't mess that up by saying, "Oh, well, we need to get Carson more involved."
Let's force throwing the ball more.
Frank Reich did exactly what he needed to do, and Carson Wentz did exactly what he needed to do. His role in that game was to be a game manager. Yeah, he managed the game. He didn't turn the ball over. He got the Colts into the right looks on offense, whether it was running the ball or checking to a quick pass, things of that nature. And the Colts won. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how they're performing. A win's a win in the NFL. So you're going to have some of those games where Jonathan Taylor takes over. You're also going to have some games where Carson Wentz has 400 yards like he did against the Ravens. Colts didn't win that game, but that wasn't Carson Wentz's fault. So would you rather have him go for 400 yards and the Colts lose in Baltimore,
Look
Or he
at
goes
Dak's
for
numbers all year last year before he went out with his nasty injury. He had absolutely absurd numbers to start the year, and they had lost all but 2 games.
pretty much, I think so. So I really don't have a problem with how Carson Wentz performed last week, but this week it is going to take a more complete performance out of the Colts passing game. And a guy we haven't even talked about all episode, Michael Pittman Jr. Michael Pittman Jr. was pretty quiet last week because the passing offense wasn't asked to do much. But I think with this banged up
he had a key first down.
He did. But I think with this banged up Buccaneers secondary, Michael Pittman Jr. could really take advantage. And if they're trying to play everything short to not let Jonathan Taylor take over, I mean, we might see T.Y. Hilton even get a big play. We haven't really heard T.Y.'s name too much. So I do think the passing offense will be more involved quite a bit. And I stick by my statement. I think Carson Wentz at the end of the day is going to have to win the Colts this football game. It's just a feeling and just how this matchup is setting up.
He sure as hell can't be the one to lose it for it. You know what I mean? Like if he has a performance like that, I mean, we can't overcome it. We cannot overcome an ugly game from him this week. 2 things real quick before we go into the X Factor, Andrew. 1, have you watched any of this Tom Brady documentary?
Absolutely not.
I'm going to have to. You got to watch it, right? You got to watch it. It's going to be good television. I probably will. But I did see a highlight. He talks about Peyton. And he said, yeah, like that was a guy I looked up to. And so that I wanted to beat that guy. I know Peyton's not a Colt anymore, but obviously most of their rivalry and the start of their friendship was Colts. So I feel like Tom still knows, like when he walks into that stadium, there's going to be some yelling. There's going to be some booing. I feel like he still holds that I want to beat Indianapolis near and dear to his heart. So he's going to bring his A game. Do not expect a shitty Tom Brady football game. We're going to have to go win this one because he's not going to lose it.
I mean, Brady gets booed in Lucas Oil Stadium when he's not even there. A couple weeks ago,
they just show him on the screen.
A couple weeks ago, Carson Wentz put Tom Brady on his Mount Rushmore, and the entire place started booing. I was at Peyton Manning's Hall of Fame acceptance speech, and when Manning said,
"Awesome,"
you were there too. When Manning said that Brady was there, the crowd started booing, and it was mostly Colts fans. So
it was hilarious. And we've talked about this, but he was like, "What are you booing me?" He knew it was coming. I mean, he knew for sure.
It's gonna be a playoff atmosphere in Lucas Oil Stadium.
I'm excited. So it was the playoff atmosphere last week, like Jonathan Taylor said. All right, Andrew, your X Factor. I think, can I predict it? Because I haven't seen. Have you posted this article yet?
No, I'm in the middle of writing it.
Carson Wentz is what you're gonna say. No,
Carson Wentz is not my X Factor.
Okay.
My X Factor, it's actually a little bit more obvious. It's how we started out the show. It's DeForest Buckner.
Mine's Grover Stewart.
I try not to. I really tried this year to
do just quarterback,
to not do quarterback, but not to repeat an X Factor. And I've already done DeForest Buckner once this year, but at the same time, it's going to come down to on that side of the ball if the Colts can get pressure up the middle, and that's going to be DeForest Buckner. So. If DeForest Buckner can have a game, can really wreck the game and get up in Brady's face, it's going to make the life of the Colts a lot easier. But if not, and he can't get through, and Brady has all time to throw, I think the Colts are in trouble.
I could say Grove to just go the opposite. You know what I mean? I think that pressure up the middle is a real big key. Just maybe the defense. I was going to go both middle guys if you picked something else. But I don't know. You could go Kwity Paye or either edge, whoever's on the end, Kwity Paye and whoever the other end is. You know, if they're able to create pressure up the middle, Buck and Grove, can the ends seal the deal? Can Kwity Paye get home Hey, who better to get your first real mean sack against than Tom Brady? You know what I mean? Like another Michigan guy. A little handshake afterwards. I don't know. But the defensive line has got to get home, and they cannot do this whole like missed by a fingernail. You know what I mean? They have got to get their hands on Tom Brady and take him down.
Something to watch. I didn't mention it before.
I never pick one player. I don't know if you've noticed that. I just never nail it down to one guy.
You pick an entire group. That's fine. Something to watch though is the linebackers on Rob Gronkowski. I mean, Bobby Okereke and Darius, or Bobby Okereke, I'll get it eventually. Bobby Okereke and Darius Leonard on that bum ankle. Rob Gronkowski could really torch the Colts if they're not careful and they're not making sure that he's well accounted for. Because I mean, we give all the attention to the guys on the outside, like Mike Evans, who may be hurt, but Chris Godwin, those guys.
That's got to be one of those guys that Darius just wants to get his hands on and try to beat up a little bit, right? Like he's gonna want to stick Gronk.
He is. But Darius obviously isn't at 100%, and
he's got to beat some this year.
It's tough for him, especially in coverage with that ankle. So Colts really need to be careful that they don't allow Rob Gronkowski to just run those seams right over the middle and catch those balls in between Darius Leonard and George Odom or whoever's playing that safety role.
Got to watch out for the Peyton Manning tight end play that Brady stole. Was that from what is that from? The top 100 thing? Is that when they did a couple years ago? They talked about that.
They talked about it again on the Monday Night Cast where Peyton and Eli. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch that one. I didn't see the one with Phil either. At least not that part. I watched part of that game, but I went to bed. Prediction, Andrew. I've gone first a couple weeks in a row now. I feel like, haven't I?
I think you went first last week at least.
All right.
I don't remember.
You go ahead.
I'll go first. I'm gonna go, unfortunately, with the Buccaneers. And here's why.
You're supposed to pick the Colts and say you got a good feeling, and then I pick the Bucs, Andrew, because that's what worked last week, and that's what we do this week. You're an idiot.
I didn't have. I had a good feeling last week. I'm confident the Colts can make this a game. I'm not sure the Colts can close it out though, and I hope I'm wrong. But I just
Colts +3.
I'd say there's a good chance they cover. I would not be surprised at all if they do. Probably maybe a push, but like I said, it's going to come down to that interior pressure, and if the Colts can do that, I'm not surprised at all if they win. But if it doesn't happen and Brady's getting rid of the ball very, very quickly, I think the Colts defense could be in for a long day, and I'm not exactly sure if the Colts offense can necessarily keep up with that. So I'm going to go Bucs, but it's honestly, I feel like it's a toss-up right now. So I'm going Bucs just because I've seen what Tom Brady could do before, and history says that Tom Brady will probably do it again. But, I mean, Colts can be sneaky, and the Colts are hot right now.
X Factor, Lucas Oil Stadium.
Oh, there we go.
I think we don't have much of a great chance, and I don't think the offense is going to have I don't think it's going to be because the offense can't keep up. I think it's because they're going to torch our defense so bad that it's not really reasonable to expect the offense to keep up. I'm guessing probably 35 to 38 to 27-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood. It's not going to be pretty, probably. And I hope I'm wrong again. I would be happy to lose this one. But yeah, that's it for the game. Andrew is back. There he is. Man. You're going to watch this. You're going to watch this tomorrow or later, whenever you do it, and you're going to be upset.
Am I really freezing that much?
That time, and I mean, it even went black and gave me a little spinny guy. Other Colts news.
We're struggling over here. I'm trying, brother.
It's fine. I'm going to make fun of you no matter what. I'm not upset, but I am going to make fun of you. Do we have injuries to report? What do we got? Injuries.
Yeah, so unfortunately, I did not put it in the outline for you to see, but I've got it here on my phone. The Colts really not a bad injury day on a Wednesday here before the Buccaneers game. So the only guy that didn't practice was Quentin Nelson with that ankle injury. Guys that were limited today were TJ Carey with a knee, T.Y. Hilton with a toe injury, and Darius Leonard obviously with the ankle. And that's it. No guys were held out for rest. So only 4 guys on the Wednesday injury report. That's a pretty good sign. So, and I honestly, I don't have any concerns with those guys playing. I think Quentin Nelson does suit up, even if he doesn't practice this week. I think that Quentin Nelson probably does suit up. So they're going to need him. They certainly are against this number 1 ranked Buccaneers rush defense.
All right. Other Colts news. Colts running back Jonathan Taylor named AFC Offensive Player of the Week for his performance against the Bills. 32 carries, 185 yards rushing, 5 total touchdowns, 204 total yards. Big whoop. Happens every week.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Jonathan Taylor has been named the second ever MVP, Nickelodeon Valuable Player. Just happened now.
You like that?
The first ever Colts MVP, the second ever MVP, Jonathan Taylor, for his performance on Sunday.
Hell yeah.
We need
that's awesome.
We need a sound bit of a Stone Cold saying what, or
No, we can't.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I know, but it's kind of somebody else's thing.
The PMS show?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right. Makes sense.
That's what I kind of, it's where all of our inspiration came from. It's the reason we're doing a podcast, but we can only do so much. So good for JT. Obviously was going to happen. I don't know. Is he FedEx ground player of the week again? Or they just say, can we pick somebody else for once? Colts sign cornerback Anthony Chesley, cornerback Brian Poole, and wide receiver Isaiah McCoy to the practice squad, and release cornerback Bo Pete Keys. Oh, not Bo Pete. And wide receiver Tariq Black from the practice squad.
So Brian Poole's a little bit interesting. He was a nickel corner for the Saints and played pretty well. So Colts have a lot of veteran defensive backs in their practice squad right now.
Just in case. Never know. All right. Talking about week 11 games that we missed and the week 12 slate of games. Week 11, Sunday night, Chargers beat the Steelers. Is that right? Yeah, 41-37.
Did you watch that game?
No, I did not.
You went straight to bed like an old man. It was a fantastic game. Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I was not interested in that football game.
Justin Herbert had 390 passing yards, had 373 passing yards, something like that. 93 on the ground. Absolutely tore it up. And it actually became a pretty close game. The Steelers almost came back. So all of these losses, though, he had 90% last.
Who had 90% of what? Of the FedEx Ground Player of the Week votes?
Oh yeah, I think so. But yeah, Justin Herbert had a hell of a game, and with all these AFC losses by various teams like the Steelers, the Browns, the Titans, all these teams that were losing, it's making the AFC playoff picture very, very exciting right now.
Yeah, and hey, we're going to talk about it, but Titans Patriots, that's going to make our AFC picture a little brighter, I'm hoping. Buccaneers beat the Giants. We talked about that 30-10. No surprise there. Honestly, and most of that work was done in the second half. It feels like I really needed Brady to step up and score, 2 more touchdowns. But anytime I bet on Brady to do something, it never happens. Never happens.
Seems like it.
All right. Let's get into week 12.
Oh,
let's
go over the pick'em standings real quick. Go ahead and read it off for the people, Brandon.
So Brandon is 98-66 at 60%. Andrew has taken his first lead of all time. I feel like
I was in the lead a couple weeks ago.
First to 100 wins the race to 100. If you bet Andrew to win the race to 100, congratulations, you won zero money because that line existed nowhere. He's at 61%. It's just a matter of time before I catch up.
Yeah,
let's go ahead and get started on Thanksgiving games, Andrew. Chicago Bears at the always hosting Lions. Hey, by the way, I like telling this story. The reason the Lions and the Cowboys get to host a Thanksgiving game every year, fun fact, back when the NFL decided they were going to do a Thursday game, on Thanksgiving, they offered up these games to every single team. And the Lions and the Cowboys were the only ones that volunteered. And then Thanksgiving games blew up, and the NFL promised the Lions and the Cowboys a game every Thanksgiving because they were the only teams that stepped up to play that game. So now they get a home game every year. Fun fact. All right.
That's a great story. Now, before we start, look who chimed in.
Well, hello.
My beautiful fiance, Danielle, has entered the chat.
Your beautiful fiance?
beautiful. Did that internet
There we
cut out again?
No, you said beautiful fiance is what
Yeah,
happened.
My beautiful fiance, Danielle.
Hello, Danny.
Hi.
We're going to go. Me and Andrew are going to go get hammered tonight.
Absolutely not. I work tomorrow.
So Chicago at Detroit, Andrew.
I'm going Chicago because I think Andy Dalton against the Lions, I don't think the Lions are going to be able to keep up with the old Red Rocket, especially since Jared Goff is out. I mean, I don't have any hope for the Lions anymore, so I'm going Bears pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm going Bears as well. Raiders at Cowboys. This one scares me a little, but the Cowboys have got cheese-eating nuggies. That's great. The Cowboys have got to win this football game. If the Cowboys do not win this football game, I'm going to be losing a little faith in the Cowboys, and I've been nice to them this year. I've said nice things. So they got to win this football game against the Raiders.
And I think they will. The Raiders just haven't. They started out hot. It seems like they do every year, and they're starting to come back to the pack again. I think they're now 500, and I think this is a game where the Cowboys can get back on track after losing to Kansas City. So I'm going Cowboys.
Same deal. I picked the Cowboys as well. If I didn't already say that, the Bills at the same situation here. This is where the Bills have to get back on track, and they will.
I think so too. The Saints obviously have Trevor Siemian at quarterback.
Stats Matt. Stats. Robinson doubtful. Hicks out and Mack out. Does that change your mind about that game with the Bears, Andrew?
I don't think so. I don't think the Lions are going to be able. I don't think the Lions are going to be able to handle that. But back to the Bills Saints. Like I said, Trevor Siemian at quarterback, not good. Alvin Kamara out again, not good. Mark Ingram questionable. Bills should win in a rout of New Orleans.
Pittsburgh at Cincinnati.
This one's tough. I think it's going to be an old classic AFC North showdown.
AFC North.
It's
AFC North. Oh my God, this is unbelievable. Now I'm out. What is going on?
Can you?
Maybe it's me tonight.
You're all frozen. Okay, there we go. We're back. I'm going Bengals. Let's get this done before we completely go out. Going Bengals.
I'm also going to go Bengals. I was hoping to get one there for you. We both picked the Bucs. Panthers at Dolphins, Andrew.
I think this game is going to be closer than people think. I'm going to go Panthers just because, I mean, the Dolphins are on a 2-game winning streak. But
my God.
Did I just go out again?
Yeah, here we go. Dolphins are on a
2-game winning streak, but I'm going Panthers.
I'm going Dolphins at home. I'm going Dolphins at home. Titans at Pats. I'll go Patriots.
I'm going because I think the Patriots are hot right now, and I think normally I would pick the Titans, and you know what, the Titans will probably win because we're picking the Patriots, but the Titans offense just looks completely lost right now without Derrick Henry, and I need to see Ryan Tannehill kind of prove that he can have a really good performance without Derrick Henry back there.
Also, we need the Patriots to win, so.
Yeah,
that's another reason. I never thought we'd be back in the picture for the AFC South, and here we are. Eagles at Giants. I'm going Eagles. They look good.
I'm going Eagles as well. Nick Sirianni doing a hell of a job there in Philadelphia. And the Giants, I mean, I watched the Giants Monday night. Man, they're a bad team. I'm going Eagles.
I don't think the Eagles would be having near the success with Peterson as they are Mr. Sirianni. I don't think Hurts would be having as good of a year. So they do still have a losing record, but let's give them a break. Falcons at Jaguars. You're picking this one first because I have to know. Falcons at Jaguars.
Man, I can't pick the Falcons, but the Jaguars are bad. I can't pick the Falcons, but the Jaguars are bad. This is a terrible game to pick for me. This is where you're going to get the lead back. I'm
going opposite of you on this one.
I'm going Jaguars because I like the defense.
Changing my pick to the Falcons because I like their defense. I'm just going opposite of you on this game. Seems like a safe bet. Seems like a safe bet for me. Falcons. Jets at Texans. I'm going Jets.
Ooh, why? Why's that? Just a feeling?
Pissing in the wind, probably.
I'm going Texans. I think Tyrod Taylor is going to lead the Texans to a victory over the Jets, who, man, the Jets are even worse than the Giants right now. So I'm going Texans.
Chargers at Broncos. This one feels like the one that the Chargers just blow, but I can't pick against them. I can't pick the Broncos, really. So Chargers.
I'm going Chargers as well. I would like to see the Broncos win. That'd be nice for the Colts playoff picture. But again, Justin Herbert, I think, is just too much, and the kid's on a roll right now.
This next one's awesome because of something I just saw. This game's hard to pick. Rams at Packers. I just realized why I'm going to pick the Packers. Okay. AFC or NFC North, rivalry rematch between Aaron Rodgers and former Detroit Lions quarterback Matt Stafford. And after the game, Aaron Rodgers is going to walk up to Matt Stafford and go, "I still own you. I own
you." I think bad toe and all, the Packers are going to win in Green Bay. And that's the simple fact of it. It's in Green Bay. LA is going to have to be out there in the cold. LA doesn't have a very good running game. And it's knowing Green Bay at the end of November, it's probably going to be a little bit windy too. So I'm going Green Bay.
Yep. And Vikings at 49ers.
The people are on the 49ers. I'm on the Vikings. I'm going to take the Vikings in San Francisco this week. The Vikings have looked really good. I know the 49ers have gotten a couple wins under their belt, but the Vikings just beat the Packers. So, I mean, could be a little bit of a letdown game, but I've got faith that Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson are going to light it up against the 49ers secondary.
Yeah, I'm actually with you. Kirk Cousins might be in the MVP combo. I think Vikings are going to win. I think the Vikings are going to win. What's next? I'm picking the highest scoring team at the moment.
Browns at Ravens. I'm going to go Ravens. The Browns are starting to struggle, and the Ravens, while they haven't been impressive, they've still been able to win games. So I'm going to go Baltimore.
Yeah, I like the Ravens as well. I saw something already. People are talking about, should the Browns consider a new quarterback? Should the Browns consider Baker Mayfield next year? No, he's hurt. He looks like shit because he's hurt. But yeah, still the Ravens are going to win this football game, and I don't have a doubt about that. And that's it.
What's your score for the? We've got one more game.
Did we miss one? Oh, yeah. Seahawks at the Washington football team. Seahawks.
Going Seahawks. I don't think they lose another game, even though the offense has not looked good. The Washington football team hasn't looked good either. So I'm gonna go Seahawks.
And what do you got for the score for the Ravens game?
Ravens, I'm gonna go 24-17 Ravens.
24-17. And then who am I picking to score the least amount of points? The Giants. I got Seahawks 33, football team 23, Browns 10, Ravens 24.
You know who I'm going to pick to score the least amount of points? The Falcons. Picking the Falcons against the Jaguars. Jaguars are going to shut it down.
I got Dallas to score the most, Giants to score the least.
I have Dallas as well to score the most points this week. All right.
News around the league. Broncos and wide receiver Courtland Sutton. This is great for him and great for them. Agree on a 4-year, $60.8 million extension, $34.9 million guaranteed. Good for him. He's a good receiver.
He's a very good receiver, and it was sad to see him tear his ACL, but the kid's come back and he's been dominating. He's been easily the best offensive player for the Broncos. I hope they get him a competent quarterback someday, so that way he can really flourish and become a Pro Bowler.
Yep. Saints and quarterback Taysom Hill agree to a 4-year, $40 million deal, $40 million deal extension, $20 million guaranteed. What do you think about that?
Man, they'll just give anybody $40 million in the NFL nowadays. That's pretty terrible. I mean, that's backup.
I'm sorry. This surprised me. I did not know this until I looked at it just now.
That's backup quarterback money for Taysom Hill, and he's a backup quarterback.
Giants fire offensive coordinator Jason Garrett after 2 seasons. Where's he land?
Hopefully nowhere. He's a garbage coach.
Not good.
He was bad. I mean, just watching that Giants offense, it looked discombobulated. Nobody was getting open. The offensive line couldn't block. The play calls were terrible. Daniel Jones, I was on the Daniel Jones train. I had some confidence in him. I think it's time the Giants look for a different quarterback. That guy has not gotten any better since his rookie year. He really hasn't. The Giants are going nowhere with Daniel Jones at quarterback.
Daniel Jones can come be our backup quarterback. Backup, I said.
Yeah. See you back up.
Backup.
Roll with Sam Ellinger. There we go.
Well, yeah. Hey, looked good on Sunday. What do you have? One drive, ran the ball, first down, boom, just like that.
He did. I don't know if he threw a pass. I don't think he did. Just handed the ball off. Had a run.
Did not throw a pass. All right, let's move it along too. Bad beats with Brandon. Boy, do I have a big one for you today, Andrew. Bad beats with Brandon. We're gonna do a little never gonna win parlay. This one I couldn't believe. I could not believe the amount at the end. Chicago Bears minus 145. Dallas Cowboys minus 335. Buffalo Bills minus 250. Tennessee Titans plus 7. Philadelphia Eagles minus 180. Pittsburgh Steelers plus 4.5. Miami Dolphins plus 110. New York Jets plus 125. Jaguars plus 110. Los Angeles Chargers minus 145. Vikings plus 150. And the Baltimore Ravens minus 190. All for a big fat total at 12 picks at plus 109,000. $5 would win $5,455.02. I'll give you that 2 cents, Andrew, when I win. But yeah, that's it for Bad Beats with Brandon. We're not even going to get through the song. We're going to play the outro. Ching, ching, ching. Woo! Can you guys tell that I have stuff to do tonight?
Jesus. Very professional.
It is extremely. Listen, I love this show, but it's Thanksgiving. We got family stuff to do. We got drinking to get done. If you're not hungover on Thanksgiving, you're not over the age of 21. So,
Jesus.
That's just the way it goes. Go follow us on all of our good old social media at a Colts Podcast. That's at ACOLTS PODCAST. I literally changed the name of this podcast so I wouldn't have to do that. But I did it anyway for the fans. Anything for the fans. Andrew, any closing statements?
Hopefully everyone has a happy Thanksgiving. I'm thankful for you, brother. Thankful we get to do this podcast. Thankful that we started it a year and a half ago, and now we're with Sports Illustrated. Pretty wild ride. Go Colts.
I'm quite thankful for Peyton Manning, beer, beautiful women, but specifically my fiance. Thankful for you. I'm also thankful for this podcast and Sports Illustrated. Have a good day. Go Colts.
Remember, a legacy is only worthwhile
Say go Colts.
when there is a future to fuel. God bless you, and God bless football.
Go Colts.